The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Skagit County Fire District 13, on your new fire apparatus, which is job number 32253. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper. There are two open-ended tow hooks located underneath the front bumper. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. As we move up onto the top of the bumper area, you'll find a tubbed storage location which is covered and has a notch for your hose. Looking at the grill of the front bumper, on the left-hand side, you'll find, difficult in this picture, but an 1.5 inch pre-connected front bumper line. On the grill, you'll find your emergency warning lights. You'll also find in the front area your headlights and also turn indicators, emergency warning lights, and then up on the top of the fender, this is actually your turn indicator, right and left on each side of the fender. Located just up from that, you'll find dual air horns, and then you'll find the air inlet. This is for your engine air inlet. And then as we move all the way to the very back, you'll find a latch system on the right and left side of the vehicle for tilting your cab. To tilt the cab, just reach up into the center hand pull location. Once those have been released, this will allow you to tilt the cab forward. These are your Alcoa wheels with Michelin tires. Let's take a look at the rest of the cab here. First, you have perimeter lighting at all points of entry for firefighters. Moving up from that location, you'll find the silver tank, aluminum. Silver cap is your diesel fuel. To the right in the plastic or blue cap, this is your DEF, which is a 4.5. Moving up onto the top, points of entry will have grab handrails to gain access, and you also have a keyed entry. On your mirrors, you have a lower portion which is convex and an upper portion which is flat. And then all the way up at the very top, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Here are a couple close-ups of those images. Here's your perimeter lighting. As we move further to the very back, you'll find your diesel fuel, which is the ultra low sulfur diesel in silver, and in the black tank or blue cap, your DEF. Let's move inside the actual cab. We'll find your master battery switch. As we move forward, you'll find the key on the dash about the left knee area. And then as we move forward, we'll find your manufactured by Pierce, this yellow placard, which will go into great detail, and then also comfort controls for your seats. Let's take a look at that placard system. First, in the upper corner, you'll find manufactured by Pierce Manufacturing for Skagit County Fire District 13. And then you'll find the manufacturer's date, August of 2018, the job number, the type of chassis, and then you'll also find gross vehicle weight ratings, VIN number, and also fluid capacities. This is the master battery on and off switch. As we look to the cab, here's your key. And then let's move up onto the dash itself. Starting at the very top, we'll start with the speed control switch, which activates speed control. You have resume excel and set and coast. Beneath that, you'll find your headlight and parking light controls. And then down at the very bottom, you'll find increase or decrease. This is for the illumination of your actual lights within the column and dash area. Taking a look at the cluster here, you have your speedometer and tachometer. You have your transmission water and oil pressure. At the very top, you have your fuel, which is a combination gauge for fuel and DEF. And then just beneath that, you have your air for the front and air for the rear, referred to as parking and also as S. At the very top, you'll find your filter minder. This is an indication as to the cleanliness of your air filter. And beneath that, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. As we move to the center dash area, you'll find first your parking brake, pull to apply, push to release. To the left of that, you'll find your pump mode, which is to engage your pump. you have an engaged pump indicator light and also an OK to pump indicator light. Those must both be illuminated prior to engaging, or I should say prior to engaging or leaving the cab to operate your pump. Switches to the right, you have a high idle and also an alarm reset with the center indicators that they are on. At the very side here, you're going to have a digital display here regarding information about your apparatus. Down in the lower section, you'll find your mirror heat differential and also your DPF regen. And then moving further to the right, you'll find your Pierce Information Center regarding seatbelt information. Red indicating someone is in the seat but not belted. Green indicating someone is in the seat and they are belted. On the right hand side, you'll find 3 indicator. First, do not move your truck. This is a compartment door open or ajar. And you also have an OK to engage the high idle and also a battery indicator that your battery is on. In the center console, you'll find climate control for fan speed and then selection and heat temperatures. And down in the next section, you'll find door locks and window regulators. Down at the very bottom, you'll find 2 12-volt power outlets. These are barrel-style 12-volt power outlets. Over the operator's head, you'll find all of your switches from emergency master to lower rear warning zone and rear zones, including your floodlights, scene lights, and also your control for your siren and PA system. The pull rope is also for your air horn. As we look to the rear of the cab, you'll also find the ability to plug in external power. This is a 15 amp shore outlet. When plugged into shore power, this will activate. Looking at the midsection of your apparatus, these are the 2 locations for your crosslays. And at the very top on the passenger and driver side, you'll find an LED readout for the amount of water that's in your tank. You also have an air inlet and also your auto eject electrical plug for shore power. As we look through the walkway area, midship location, you'll find additional storage. These are latched storage compartments. And as we look from this vantage point up, you'll find also your crosslays. This is easy access for loading all of your hose. Let's move now to the actual pump module. This is going to be the control section. Let's move on to the driver's side. This is the driver's side auxiliary inlet on the right. And then you have your number 1 and number 3 discharge. You also have your fire pump primer. There's special instructions up above for engaging your pump primer. And then at the very bottom, you have an engine cooler, which is a twist, not a pull. On the left-hand side, you'll find your Pierce maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. And as we look across, you'll find all of your gauges are clearly identified not only by color, also by language, but also by red indicator indicating water and foam. You can see that on each of the valves. We're now here to the Husky foam system. This is a Husky 3. The top button is green. It's the system on-off. Beneath that, you'll find your foam percentage, which is a digital readout. The 2 gray buttons are going to be for increasing or decreasing the foam concentration. And then you also have a prime button. Located also on this module are your instructions and also indication lights for your system status lights, which are to the right. Just beneath that, you'll find a foam level indicator from empty, quarter, half, 3/4, and full. Moving to the right, you'll find your water tank level. This is in blue. And then there's also a warning label here regarding fall hazard that you should not ride on the apparatus. Moving into the gray area or module, you'll find your master intake and master discharge. This is also the location for your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged. Let's move to the right of that. We'll find a few switches, but first I'd like to start at the very top. This is the pump engaged. This is an indicator, not a push button. And to the left, this is an audible alarm or speaker. We'll talk a little bit about the pump boss. First, when you start the vehicle, you'll find your check engine light. If it is on, it will be yellow. And we have a digital indicator for your RPMs. To the right, you'll find a stop engine, which will be illuminated in red if active. And then as we move down, you'll find kind of this aqua color. I think the color's a little off on this image, but blue switch here for the menu, which will allow you to scroll through your menu. A lot of diagnostic information for your engine, a silence button. And then as we move down, you'll find your pressure or RPM. That's to engage either one or the other. There's a digital readout here for your pressure number. And then also the throttle ready, which will indicate in green. And then you have some presets beneath that.
At the very bottom, you'll find the wheel. There is a push in the center for idle, that is to push all the way in, and then you have the ability to gain right or left for increasing and decreasing your throttle. To the right, you'll find panel light switches in addition with future switch locations if are needed. Up in the dunnage area, you'll find your hydraulic system for your Husky foam system. This is the fill location for that Husky foam system. We also look to the very center. This is the discharge port for your monitor system or deluge. Underneath the apparatus, you'll find your manifold drain and also additional foam concentrate drains. This is once again your shoreline inlet, 20 amp auto eject, and also an air inlet. We'll talk a little bit about what's on the side of your apparatus when it comes to the pump area. First, you have a Hale pump. This is the model number just beneath that. And you'll also find the information when you plug in your shoreline inlet. This will activate, which is your auto charge system, indicating the amount of charge. To the right, you'll find the number 3 driver's side discharge. It's a 2.5 inch, and also in red, the number 1, which is also 2.5. Quick note here regarding a warning not to mix foam types, consistencies, or brands. And then also the Pierce logo with the American flag eagle, large diameter pump intake. To the right, you'll find your pump drain, and further to the right, you'll find your foam system. This is for draft, foam, and tank, and there's also a fill location just beneath that. Down the lower section, you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5 inch female. And then on the left-hand side lower section, these are going to be the associated drains, which are color-coded and labeled. There's also a pan door to gain access behind the panel. Here are some close-ups of those images that we just talked about for your discharge drains. Auxiliary side inlet, 2.5 inch female. And then at the very top, once again, do not mix brands and also types of foam concentrates. You could have a foam failure hazard. Let's take a look at your battery charging system. You'll find that it's an auto charge Q-small. You'll find fully charged. All lights will be illuminating. As we move down, here are some close-ups of those discharges again, and then we'll look again at that compartment here where you can gain access behind the panel. There's also quick access releases, so you can gain full access. This is a panel to gain access behind the panel. We're now looking at the side of the apparatus. You can see directly in the center of the body, you'll see a side floodlight. Underneath, just in front of the front wheels, you'll find your folding wheel chocks. And let's go ahead and start through the compartments. In the upper left-hand compartment, you'll find your auto system charger. This is for charging your batteries when plugged into shore power. This will activate when you are plugged into shore power. You'll also find bottle storage locations. These are single bottle storage locations. There is a strap on the inside to secure the bottle once it's in its position. Let's move to the middle compartment. This is over the rear tire. You can see that you have tray here accessibility for adjustable shelving if needed. Once again, Michelin tires with Alcoa wheels on the very back of your apparatus, and these are tandem wheels. Moving just outside of that area, you'll find an emergency warning light and then also additional bottle storage location. Let's now take a look at the rear compartment of your apparatus on the driver's side. You can see there's a pull-out shelf on the very bottom. To access that release, it's on the right-hand side of the roller. General view here of the side and rear of the apparatus. Let's take a look under the apparatus. You'll find perimeter lighting on both the right and left side. Located in the center, you have an attachment point. And as we move up onto the rear section or body of the apparatus, we'll find an easy climb ladder on the left-hand side. You have your brake, turn, and reverse lights. You also have a hose bed light switch here, which allows you to gain or to activate your light switch for your hose bed. At the very top, you'll find a water indicator here for your tank level, because just beneath that, you'll find a 2.5 inch female direct fill. A couple of warning labels here regarding riding on the back of the apparatus is not advised, and also pressurized caps and associated hazards. To the right, you'll find this diamond plate door. This as the access location for your storage for your ladders. There's also grab handrails on each side for gaining access to go aloft. As we look inside this compartment, this is going to be the location where you store your ladders. There is a 24-foot, a 14-foot, and also a 10-foot attic. There are also 2 storage locations for long tools. As we look atop your apparatus, dividable hose bed storage is adjustable. There is also a work light pointing toward the rear of the apparatus for loading of your hose. Located in the dunnage area, you'll find a foam fill location. This is a latched tank. And just on the opposite end, you'll find the fill location for your water tank. To the rear, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. This is for a rear discharge pre-connect. And also on the very passenger side, you'll find the storage location for your large diameter suction hose. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle now. Let's start. There are 3 compartments, same configuration as the driver's side. Let's start in the very rear compartment with a pull-out tray at the very base. To access this tray, on the right-hand side of the roller is where the release mechanism is located. There are SCBA bottle storage just as on the driver's side. Same configuration, latched compartment with, in addition, the safety strap on the inside. We're now in the center compartment over the rear wheels. You'll find adequate LED lighting within inside all of the compartments, in addition with the ability for adjustable shelving. As we look just under this location where the bottle storage is, you'll find an additional warning label. That warning label is in reference extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures and to be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. This is the location of that warning label. Let's go ahead and take a look at the midsection of your apparatus. First at the very top, you'll find that indicator. This is the tank indicator. And then as we move further down in the pump area, we'll find an access panel door for gaining access behind the pump panel. And then we'll see your cross lays just on the left side where the netting is located. As we move underneath the apparatus, you'll find, once again, perimeter lighting. And then you'll also find this discharge should not be capped. This is for your relief valve. Let's move now to the pump panel itself area on the passenger side. This is your large diameter discharge. It is a Storz connection. Further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge, and then we'll find that warning label regarding always be cautious and be aware that under pressurized caps there is hazards when removing those caps. You'll find the Pierce Eagle American flag logo is your large diameter pump intake, and at the very bottom you'll find all of your drains labeled and color coded. We mentioned earlier that there was an access door. This is the access door that I was referring to. To gain access, simply lift the latch. This gains access behind the pump panel for inspection and also maintenance. Let's move now to the front section of the cab. This is the passenger side. As we look to the step area, you'll find all steps where door access for personnel will have LED lighting to illuminate the ground area. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab. This is the rear section. You can see that you have SCBA style seats for quick access. In addition, with the front passenger seat has SCBA style seat also. Let's go ahead and move just now inside the cab. This is going to be the officer seat or passenger seat. You'll find an electronic siren foot pedal on the right-hand side. Overhead of the passenger seat, you'll find an additional storage location and then access to all of the center controls. On the front bumper area, you'll find that swivel 1.5-inch discharge. Congratulations, Skagit County Fire District 13, Washington, on your new fire apparatus. If you have any questions regarding the video or additional information that is needed, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations.